Hello and welcome to SMCC and me, preparing for January enrollment at Southern Maine Community College. My name is Amy Lee. I'm the Director of Admissions at SMCC, and I'm here with Kalina Pierce. Kalina is a student here at SMCC in our nutrition program and is also a peer advisor in the advising office here at SMCC. And we'd like to talk a little bit about today what to expect. Next week, the 14th, is the first day of classes for the spring semester at SMCC, and we'd like to learn a little bit more about what it's like to be a student, talk about common questions that we often get, and anything else, any other questions that anyone has about enrolling for the spring semester. So I'd like to start to get to know you a little bit. You are a student here now. You came right out of high school.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about what you started as, what you did.
So I started in the fall of 2015. I started with early childhood education, and about a year in, so it was the next fall, I decided that wasn't right for me, but I really still wanted to work with kids in some way, so I decided to do liberal studies, and I did a focus in psychology. I really enjoyed that, but towards the end I figured that I really kind of wanted to go into social work, but I couldn't change at that point because they're both liberal studies. So I did graduate with the liberal studies degree. I started doing business administration after that, just to kind of get a feel for another degree, but that didn't feel right for me either, so I wanted to do nutrition. I'm all about being healthy and happy, things like that, so I want to be able to coach other people with that as well.
That's great, and that's a really perfect example of students who are undecided and are very nervous to be undecided. Especially a younger student really feels like they have this expectation that people ask them, what are you going to be? What are you going to do? What are you going to college for? And that you have to have an answer. And coming to a school and changing your major, I think that's where our affordable rates really come in. I think when you took classes in business and realized it wasn't for you, you weren't spending thousands and thousands of dollars to figure that out.
Right.
You were doing it very affordably. And knew and found your way into what you want to do, and I think that that is really representative about what a lot of our students do. How would you say the admission process was when you applied here?
Well, personally, I thought it was super easy, very straightforward. I feel like admissions is really good with being in contact with you about what you have left if you're missing anything. They're good about telling you when deadlines are for things. It's very simple and very easy.
I think that's one thing we really want to stress. It's not too late to apply. We actually have an on-the-spot decision day tomorrow, pending weather, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. here on our South Portland campus and in our Mid-Coast campus in Brunswick. And that is a time that you can come in. You'll have your application fee waived. You can take the AccuPlacer, which is a test required for enrollment, unless you have other test scores, and and get accepted. Bring in your high school diploma or a copy of your transcript, get accepted in one day, and we'll get you signed up and ready to go for next week. So it's the application process, like you said, is super easy. An application, you can do that right online. A fee, although waived tomorrow, proof of your high school graduation, and some sort of test scores for your English and math placement. And that can be the AccuPlacer, that could be the SAT, ACT, or previous college credits. So it is a very easy process, something you can complete just in one visit to SMCC. Another thing I'd like to talk about is financial aid. Have you filled out your FAFSA?
Yes.
Okay, so super important.
Yes.
Fill out your FAFSA. That is an online form, free form through the federal government that you fill out, and then SMCC will award you your package from there. Can you talk a little bit about that? Do you get work study through your financial aid?
I do. And financial aid is, again, everyone is really good with working with you with the things that you need. So like if you're stuck on your FAFSA, if you need help, if you're not sure of what to do next, they're there to help you. They actually do have a couple of computers in their office, so if you have that question, you can pull your account right up, pull your FAFSA right up, and they're able to help you with whatever you need.
That's really important, because that can be sometimes an intimidating process, and they do make it really easy, and they're really helpful in that office to help with that.
And it's always always good to, file your FAFSA anyway. Even if you think that you're not going to get anything, you might end up getting something.
Right. I agree. Filling out the FAFSA is easy, it's fast, it's free, and you may get some grant money you weren't expecting. You can get a job on campus as a work study, a tour guide, a office worker, a peer advisor, or many, many other jobs across campus. So we really encourage you to do that, and it's not too late for the spring, and it's certainly not too late for the fall for those of you looking for the fall. I do encourage you to ask some questions. It look like we have a question already. What if I'm accepted but need to hold a start date? Can I push to the fall or next spring? So the answer is yes, absolutely. We make that very easy as well. You can just shoot us an email and let us know that you'd like to change your acceptance to fall of 2019 or spring of 2020, and we are happy to change your acceptance to that semester, and then we'll get you all set to go then. We would like everyone to be accepted by this Friday. That is our last scheduled orientation of this semester. Why don't you talk a little bit about orientation? What do we do there? What kinds of things would a student learn at orientation?
So a lot kind of gets thrown at you, but don't feel like we're doing it to say, all right, you're out on your own, that's it, good luck. We're always here to help you, and that's part of the reason why we do these orientations, just because we don't want you to feel like you're by yourself and you don't know what you're doing and you don't have that support. We want you to know that you have that support. So what we do is we have a presenter in there. You will go through how to use our student portal, what tools are in there, how you can access things such as your email, maybe your online courses, things like that, how you can add and drop classes in there. If you need a form for something, maybe you're an online student and you need to fill something out and you're not close to the school. I know I live 4.5 hours away, so if I weren't here, I'd definitely go online and look for those online forms. And then after that, little presentation, we actually the peer advisors take the students out on a brief tour of the campus. So we'll take them down to the security office. You'll get your student IDs there, and then we'll take you back up through the campus center. So that's right here. We take you through all the offices. So we talk about billing, financial aid, we talk about admissions, and we talk about advising. We also talk about the campus bookstore. We talk about the Learning Commons, so the tutoring center and the writing center and the library. We talk about that a lot. And then when we get back down to the orientation room, we actually start helping you sign up for classes. And of course, we are open for any questions. So if you have questions along the way, we're always there to answer. And like we said, it's one of those things where we're here to support you. That's why we do these orientations, so it's not like, okay, here's this, sign up for this, that's it.
Yeah, I'm always shocked to hear there are still colleges that just kind of give you your schedule, like, here's your schedule,
Yeah.
hope you can make it. We really let you choose your classes that fit around your schedule, especially in the spring semester. We see a lot of adult, non-traditional age students, not right out of high school, but they have work obligations, family obligations, and they have to fit their schooling around their life. And we talk a lot about that at orientation, about not only scheduling your courses, but scheduling study time so that you're setting yourself up for success. So you're not overwhelming yourself and then you're not successful, which isn't what we want to see at all. I think that we do a really good job of checking on all of that. And orientation is what you will do. So if you come in tomorrow, get accepted on Wednesday or Thursday or Friday, you'll go to an orientation and you'll choose your classes and you'll be ready to go on Monday the 14th. The first week of school is called the add drop period, and that is when you might go to a class and maybe it's not what you thought it was. Maybe, I don't know, you get the syllabus and you didn't realize it was going to be 25, 20-page papers, or what other reasons would someone drop a class?
Maybe you were just, trying to get a feel for it. A lot of times, especially right now, classes have kind of already filled up, and it's a little bit harder for people to schedule where they want. So we always just say, maybe you want to sign up for this class just to, have a spot secured. And just keep checking back on the portal, see if a spot opens up, because people are dropping classes, if they feel like it's not right for them, or maybe they don't like how the professor teaches, things like that, because those things do happen. So you can just secure your spot, just to, have that there. And then you can go in and switch it during that first week, which is really nice, especially if there's something that, is not expected. So maybe there are, a couple of 20-page papers that are due, and maybe that's a little too much coursework for you. You can go and freely add or drop that class within that first week.
That first week with no penalty, no financial penalty, so you're not owing any money. The one thing you want to be careful though is we don't want to see you add courses too much that week, because if you've missed a course or two, it's not a great way to start off your time here at SMCC. So we want you to, that's why we want everyone to be accepted by Friday, so that they can start school Monday and then have that week to settle in and make sure the classes they're in are where they want to stay. We can help you next week, but it's really not ideal to have students coming in the week of classes to register for classes. So let's try to get accepted by the end of the week. That's definitely what we want to do. Talk to us a little bit about parking on the SMCC South Portland campus. I hear a lot of rumors. I get here bright and early. My staff will laugh at that because I'm late almost every day. But I get here bright and early and I get a nice parking spot. But what do we tell students about the challenges of parking here at SMCC?
Typically, we tell students that they need to come to campus at least 15 minutes early, just to make sure they get a good spot. We always mention the two major student parking lots here on the campus, but I always mention that, if you're not here before 8 a.m., those are probably going to be all filled up. So there's definitely student parking all around the campus. You just kind of have to look for them, which is why you need to give yourself that much time when you get here, so that way you're not scrambling to find a spot, or maybe you park in a spot that you're not supposed to because you could get a ticket from security and you don't really want that.
Right. And there is parking. There is enough parking for everyone. It might be a walk. It might be a walk from where your car is to where your class is. And you're not going to maybe pull right up to that door and roll out 2 minutes before class.
Right.
So it is important to give yourself time. And that's another thing about setting yourself up for success, especially in the beginning of the semester. Coming to class late that first week would not be a good idea.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about how important it is to attend your classes in college? For someone maybe that has never been to college before, and they think, wow, this teacher doesn't even say here, they don't even really seem to take attendance, so I maybe just won't go and just pass my test. What do we tell students about that?
So it's very important to attend classes, mostly because you're paying for that class, and to come to pay for this class and not even show up to it, you're kind of wasting your money on this particular class. And I believe it's 6 classes that you can miss before you are automatically failed out of that class. But you definitely want to make sure you're there, especially because, depending on your schedule, maybe you have a class like once a week, maybe you have it 2 times a week, maybe you have it 3 times a week. Depends on what your class is and what it entails. But especially if you have maybe once a week, you're going to miss a lot of information just from that, because typically those are about maybe 2 to 3 hours at a time. So you're missing all this information, and then by the time the test comes around, you're not going to know anything that's on that test. So it's very important to be there for all of your classes if you can. If you can't help it, maybe there's a family emergency or something, definitely check with your professors, keep in contact with them. They're very good with working with you, working with your schedule and what you need. They're very good with that, as long as you're in touch with them. If you're not, then they can't really help you.
Yeah, absolutely. And every teacher is going to have an attendance policy, so you really want to be checking with that, and it could differ from one teacher to the next. So you really want to make sure you're not missing class, especially that first week of school if you can help it. Talk a little bit about the resources on campus. So I'm new. I've never been to college before. I'm a little bit overwhelmed my first couple of weeks. I'm already overwhelmed in my math class. I haven't taken math in many years. Where do I go? What do I do?
So something we would suggest would be the tutoring center, which is, free to everybody because that's built right into your tuition. So you don't have to pay anything extra to use the tutoring center. Especially, if you're overwhelmed in math, if you haven't taken that in quite a few years, or maybe, you just want to get ahead in math, that way you're not falling behind later on. The tutoring center is definitely a good resource. If there's something like, maybe English and you have papers that you have to write, we do suggest the writing center. The writing center is good, if you submit a paper to them, whether you take it to them or you submit it online, because you can do that as well, and same for tutoring, you can do online. If you submit it to them, I believe it's 48 hours, they will submit it back to you, and they'll suggest to you, what to fix. So they're really just critiquing it, so that way you can have a better paper and you have somebody else that's looking at it, and that would maybe make your grade better by maybe even half a letter grade, which is good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also the advising office, we also have counseling, we have disability services, we have really everything you need. You just need to make sure you ask that. Even if you don't know where to go, come into the advising office and ask the people at the front desk where to go, what to do, and we'll walk you there, we'll help you out. Couple of questions. So if I came in tomorrow or any other day this week, how long should I expect the application process to take? For the spring semester, it should take a day. It should take that day. We'll able to tell you tomorrow, once you take the AccuPlacer and submit your paperwork, that you're accepted, and then we'll get you right into an orientation so you can start on Monday. If you're applying for the fall or a future semester, from when you apply to when you get your letter will probably take a few weeks. At this time of the year, we are focusing on the spring, and next week we will be focusing on the fall. So we're always rolling into the next semester. Here's another question. If I enroll now, do I have a better class choice? Meaning, do the classes fill up fast and certain programs fill up fast? They certainly do. I know Kalina mentioned that already. This close to the start of school, we've been registering since November?
Yep,
November. So we've been registering for several months already for the spring semester. So yes, classes are full in some areas, but we have many, many sections. And we do our best to make sure at this time of year that you are in classes you need for your major. It might not be your first choice. You can't come in and say, I want classes only Monday, Tuesday, and from 9 to 1, and that's all. We might have to be a little bit inventive with your schedule, but we are really working to make it work for you. Certain majors do fill up. Some of our trades have some limited spaces, so they fill rather quickly. But again, we're going to make sure you're maybe in your English or your math or your social science to get you ready for the next semester. And then once you're here as a student, you will be the first person to register for the next semester. So right now, current students have registered, new students have registered, and now we're open to the public. So classes are more full than they were in November, but it will help you for next semester for sure. And then another question we got is the snow. We've had a lot of snow recently, a few snow days already. And what happens if the weather is bad tomorrow? I want you to go to our website, www.smccme.edu, and on our homepage we will let you know if we are open, or it won't say if we're open, we're open. If we're closed, it will say we're closed, or if we have an hour or two delay, it will say that as well. If we end up closing for snow tomorrow, we want you to know that you could come in Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday of this week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we will waive your application fee and treat it like an on-the-spot day that we were having tomorrow. So if we are closed tomorrow, we don't want that to stop you from still coming to school next week. We want you to be ready. You'll just have to stop it another day. And you can also apply online and fax or email your transcripts to us. So you don't have to physically come here. If you have all of your paperwork at home, it's something you can easily scan into us. Do you have any other kind of tips? What's the first week of school like as a new student walking on campus? Think back to when you were first on the college campus, or what you see every semester working in the advising office. Kind of what things do you notice about the first week of school?
It can definitely be a little bit overwhelming, especially as a new student when you're transitioning from high school to college, especially when you come from a small school like I did. Even though this is kind of a smaller type of school, it was still very overwhelming to me. But one of the biggest things that, we want students to know is that we're here for you when you feel overwhelmed. It's not just, oh, I feel overwhelmed, I'm just gonna, kind of play it out and see what happens. It's, if you feel like you need help, you can come to us in advising, you can go to admissions, maybe, if you're living on campus, you could go to your RA or your RD. Everyone who is on this campus, the best thing about it is that they're here to help you and they're here for you. And that's really why I've stuck with this school, is because everyone's always here to help and they're not just pushing you out on your own and saying, okay, there you are, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I'd say to expect that I know I'll see next week are lines. There'll be lines here in the advising office. There'll be lines in financial aid, the bookstore, the Starbucks in our cafe will have a line. But don't let that intimidate you. It's the first week of school. People have questions. People need to add and drop classes. People don't know where to go. It's not like that all the time, but it is something to expect. So something we want you to be ready for, and don't see a line of a couple people and go, forget it, I'm not going to ask that question. We want you to still make sure you connect with one of us and make sure that we can help you. We hope that you enjoyed meeting Kalina and hearing more about what it's like to be an SMCC student. We hope to see you tomorrow at our On the Spot Day from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. in South Portland and in Brunswick, weather permitting. And we hope to see you next week at the start of our spring semester. Thanks.